Now that you have an idea of the geology and climate during the Ordovician, let's take a look at the changes occurring in life during this time. Before the end of the Ordovician period, there was a rapid increase in biodiversification called the Great Ordovician Biodiversification Event, the GOBE. The red line on the graph marks the event. Note the increase in marine families from approximately 150 at the start of the Ordovician to just over 400 families near the end of the Ordovician, marked by the blue line. As you saw in the previous graph, the Ordovician experienced a major increase in biodiversity. In addition to all of the invertebrates that we have talked about previously, the jawless fish start to appear. So we have to ask ourselves, what geologic events may have spurred this increase in biodiversity? And was this likely helped or hindered by the climate? This illustration is an excellent representation of what life in the Ordovician seas probably looked like. You can see trilobites and straight-shelled cephalopods, brachiopods and crinoids and sponges, and more, all inhabiting warm, shallow, epiric seas. This is a fossil of an early chordate from the Cambrian called Pikaia. We are going to investigate the evolution of the chordates next. So we have to ask ourselves, what makes a chordate a chordate? All chordates must have the following four characteristics to be considered chordates. First, they have to have a notochord. A notochord is a rod of dense tissue that stores elastic energy and probably evolved to improve swimming. Secondly, chordates have to have pharyngeal slits. This is the opening between the throat and the outside of the animal. For primitive chordates, this acts to filter food. For fish, it's for gas exchange. The third characteristic is a post-anal tail. This is an extension of the notochord past the anal opening, and it also probably evolved to improve swimming. And lastly, they must all have a dorsal nerve cord. We're going to start with the hemichordates. Hemichordate means half chordate. Hemichordates, such as this modern acorn worm in the photo, have something resembling pharyngeal slits, and they have a structure called a stomochord, which is similar to the notochord, but they're missing the post-anal tail and a dorsal nerve cord. Some larval hemichordates actually look similar to echinoderm larvae, which are also deuterostomia. The left illustration shows examples of graptolite fossils and graptolite lifestyles. These included both sessile benthic and pelagic planktonic forms. They really look like plants, but they're actually animals. On the right is a block of sedimentary rock with several graptolite fossils in it. Graptolites are an important hemichordate from the Cambrian to the Carboniferous because some of them make excellent index fossils. The urochordates or tail chordates have a notochord and post-anal tail that are conspicuous in the larval form. The photo on the left shows the adult forms of urochordates called tunicates, commonly called sea squirts. On the right, you can see the larval form with the post-anal tail and the notochord. They really, as adults, look more like a sponge or even a coral than a relative of chordates. The term tunicate comes from the fact that as adults, they're enclosed in a tunic-like sheath. This illustration shows the very different larval form of the urochordates and their metamorphosis to adult forms. As larvae, they look very much like a tadpole that you can see in stage 1. At stage 2, they attach to the substrate, and begin the metamorphosis to sessile benthos adult fauna, which is stage 4. The urochordates, as mentioned previously, have a notochord. They also have that post-anal tail, but only in the larval form. The cephalochordates are the head chordates. There are 25 modern species of cephalochordates, including the lancelet, which looks somewhat like an eel or a very simple fish. They have V-shaped musculature, which is a feature of true vertebrates. They have a notochord that extends the length of the body, extending from head to tail, and persisting throughout the animal's life. They also have pharyngeal slits and a post-anal tail. This is a diagram and photograph of a cephalochordate. Now, notice that the V-shaped muscle pattern is very visible. This is a feature of vertebrates. If you've ever eaten fish, you may have noticed this pattern in a piece of baked fish. The vertebrates have all of the features of the chordates, plus they have a true head that is developed from a neural, basically, clump of neural crest cells and hard structures called vertebrae surrounding the notochord. These two features are only found in vertebrates. On the left is a photo of fossilized jaw elements of the conodont animal. On the right is an illustration of what a conodont animal looked like. These animals were very small, just millimeters long. The fossils you see on the left are referred to as conodonts, and they're microfossils. There is much argument in the paleontology community on whether or not conodonts were vertebrates. Some of the whole animal fossils found recently do show a V-shaped musculature. This is a reconstruction of the earliest known fish ancestor from the Cambrian. Notice there are no fins. This little guy also had no jaws. This is Haikuichthyes from the lower Cambrian fauna of China. This is a fossilized jawless fish from the Ordovician to Silurian. Now, we will take a brief look at the jawless fish now, and we'll expand upon them in Lecture 10. The ostracoderms, such as those illustrated here, had no jaws, no paired fins, and were covered with plated skin versus flexible skin or scales. They were very different from our idea of what fish look like. This is the end of part 3. In part 4, we will focus on mass extinction, what it is, and the mass extinction at the end of the Ordovician period.